I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. It's a miracle. keep your volume up if you can.
Okay, man.
It's sometimes when you're touring like we are at the moment, we've been in like 3 different time zones in the last week.
Yeah.
And last night we were in St. Louis, Missouri, and now we're parked out front of the hall in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is Eastern time. And we left, last night. We just drove 6.5 hours tonight. And I've been asleep in my bunk getting dressed for a big day today, and then a show tonight. So, yeah.
Oh, man, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I really do, because I know you're busy.
Well, tonight's the last show of this tour, and then tomorrow I have to fly to South Korea and then on to Thailand, and I won't get in until Monday 9 o'clock in the evening, and that's a lot of flying. So, so everything starts to...
Course.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? How do you manage the diary? Is that like, do you let other people do that, or do you, Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we use Google Calendar.
Yeah.
And my tour manager, my lighting director guy who also helps manage, and my management and everything there we're all on the same page all the time. So, I know what's got to happen today.
Yeah. And, and there's plenty of time for time off as well, hopefully.
Well, there won't be much time today. There'll be a little bit of time. Basically, I've got to get our thing done, and then I've got to shoot video liners for shows in Poland, shows in Sweden, shows in England, Australia, New Zealand.
Wow.
To get all that done today.
Wow.
And we can't actually get into the theatre until 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Right.
Because there's a children's event on in there, and they're just like, no one's allowed in, and
Wow.
So we're going to have to make a mad dash, because we've got a trailer full of lights that we use. It's going to be a mad rush. Anyway,
so onwards. All right. Well, let's jump in then. Basically, let's just guide in gently. How did you get into touring and music, and how could you go David Copperfield and go back in time and tell us a little bit how you sort of started off?
Well, it was so long ago, It was 1960 when we first started playing shows. So, and we just played talent quests. We played for churches and hospitals and things like that to get some experience and to work up our arrangements and our songs and all that stuff, and get used to playing in front of people.
Mm.
And then we got ourselves on a TV show, which was all new in Australia in those days. And we ended up being advised that we really had something, and that we should take it. We should take it on the road.
Right.
And so my mum and dad sold up their house, and my dad quit his job, and we bought another car, and a tent, and a roof rack, and a trailer, and away we went. And
so the whole family went on the road.
Yeah, 6 children and mum and dad, and mum had an assistant who was a singer that was help with the little ones, and a guy who was a singer was he was a school teacher as well, so he would do our school instruction, which we did through the mail, and so that's how we traveled around. We were originally called the Emmanuel Quartet, and then in '63, when the Safaris came out with Wipeout, we played that in the show, and I played the drum solo.
Wow!
I was only little, 8 years old, and I was playing drums as well. And so we called ourselves the Midgets of Safari. And that was a bit of my dad's genius there. And we just kept touring until we couldn't keep going, because my dad had a heart condition and it killed him in '66.
Right.
And so I was almost 11 when my dad passed away.
Wow.
But, I never wanted to do anything else. I'm always hungry for knowledge, as I am today, but and experience. And, what I'm doing today, I'm talking to you on a bus that I'm hiring. I have my sound man, who is my tour manager. I have my lighting director. I have my merchandise people, all our equipment. It's all on this bus and in the truck.
Wow.
And I'm traveling around America playing shows, and I'm fulfilling my childhood dream. I'm living my dream of, playing music for a living, bringing music into people's lives, and learning and growing as an artist.
Definitely. I remember it was a show that I don't know if we did the show together. I think it was. I think there was a show that we did together in it might have been London or there was a show that we did somewhere in London, or it was somewhere in the UK. And I remember you said that two of the most important things to you in life are happiness and excellence. Would you say that you still live by that mantra? And could you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Well, it's important for us to be happy. If we're not happy, we need to change things until we are. But what makes me happy is doing a good job. If I do a good job, I play well, and the audience has a great time, then I'm happy. I'm not looking for glory. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for fame. I'm looking to do a good job, because I found that that's what makes me happy.
Right.
I'm really happy when I'm happy when I'm with my children. I'm happy being granddad, all that. But doing a good job for me is what makes me happy. So, and then I'm always reaching for excellence, because I can always do better, and I'm not a machine. So I know that there are days when I don't play up to the level that I'm pushing myself to do it, and I struggle, a lot of people probably wouldn't see that, but I see it. And so, some nights are like sheer magic. The music just flows through you. You come up with ideas on the fly that blow your own mind. And then the next night, it doesn't happen. And so really what I tell people is, you better have some good songs and good arrangements to stand on, because even on your worst night, where you're not feeling creative, or there's no kind of flow and going on, you better have some good things to play
to fall back on.
Even that will get you through. And I've had many a night where I've been tearing my hair out because I just go, okay, I'm going to play this, and I play stuff that I know will always entertain the audience, because I never forget I'm on stage. That means I'm in the entertainment business. I'm not here to be self-indulgent. I'm here to give those people the best I can, and give them the best time that I possibly can. So, I always find a way of doing that, because a lot of us have the shitty committee. up here.
That's a good phrase.
Yeah, the shitty committee want to tell us that we're shitty, that we're no good, and that this is really going on us to think. And so when they chime in, that's when I start to find a way around them, you know.
Interesting. What would you say? You know, you were talking about songs there. What is your approach to songwriting and honing your musical style? How do you approach things? Do you have a particular way, or?
Well, I'm always waiting for the next good idea, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I stumble across it, playing something else, and I get an idea, and I go, oh, and then I go that way. Or I'll see a movie, and I'll be so moved by something that a whole scenario will appear in my head, and I'll see it and hear it and bring it to life.
Right.
I automatically think like I'm writing for a singer and a band. I never ever think, oh, this is just a solo guitar piece, ever.
Interesting.
Right? So I'm always thinking like I'm making the record, I'm shooting the movie, I'm writing the soundtrack. You know, it's like I'm always thinking that way. You know, cinematic, a finished product. It's on the radio. Everybody is listening to it. You know, that's what's going on in here.
Right.
And if I get a good idea that I think is really worth putting all my energy in, I will hunt that sucker down until I get it. You know, and I have a fairly new song now that I wrote a while back, and I think I spent 3 weeks coming back to it. I would play it, and then I'd say I would think about it and think my instincts are telling me it needs another bridge. It needs a story to go a little further and stuff like that. So, and then I found that I was trying to be too clever. I don't need to do all this. I can get rid of that and just get the meat and potatoes right, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I approach it. I look for the strengths and the best musical part of what I'm doing. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I sometimes find.
Frozen again.
Oh, can you see me?
Oh.
Hello. Got ya? Can you hear me?
I can see. Oh, you're back.
I'm back.
It's because it's Wi-Fi on a bus. It's a little unstable, but I'm trying to hang in focus.
It's all right, man. It's okay.
There's going to be a bit of discussion.
Of course. One of the things that I always get asked is how do you, especially students or younger kids who are wanting to get into the music industry and the business and all that kind of stuff, and they always ask me, how do you get into it, and how do you go and do it and go and play theaters or stadiums or whatever. And I always there's a couple of there's so many answers to that, and I find that sometimes it's a route that involves record labels and all that stuff, and then other times it's a route that's largely like your own, Tommy, where you're just out there and you're just doing it, and you're just out there and grinding. And do you have any advice for people who are like wanting to make a start and try and get into it and all that stuff?
Well, it's supply and demand. That's what it really is. Okay. So how do I create a demand that people want to buy a ticket and come and see me play?
Right.
How do I do that? Okay. I start out small. I try to give people a great time and show them something that they may not have seen before. Some crazy guy from Australia comes over to England and starts playing these venues where people are used to somebody being very subdued and playing folk music, and I come out there like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they're like, they come up and they're like, oh my God, I've got to see that again. There's supply and demand right there.
That's brilliant.
Oh my God, I got to see it again. Okay, so you want to see it again? How about in a bigger venue? You know?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So if we use England as an example, I came there, nobody knew me, you know. I mean, guitar players like Albert Lee and Martin Taylor and people like that, they knew me.
Right.
But because they traveled to Australia. And anyway, so I had to start out in small places. I had to get myself on some guitar festivals that in those days, you know, you had John Renbon and
right.
You know, you had a whole bunch of players there, and I was part of that sort of entourage until I played, and then I hosed the shit out of everybody, and my agent said, oh, well, how about we come back and play all these venues where you've just played with this guitar night, you know, with other artists, and I came back and I had a pretty good crowd. So it all went well. I signed autographs after the show. I met people. I got, you know, photos with people. The promoter was really happy. He was already in my ear about when can we do it again.
Yeah, about yeah.
You know, all that, you know. So what I had to do was create it. I had to come on with a show that just blew everything out of the water. It was like, holy shit, we've got to have this.
Yeah.
That's what I had to come up with. The songs, the arrangements, the entertainment, the fun, the music, the sound. I mean, everything is all my responsibility.
Yeah.
You know? So then I start doing tours where I'm driving myself around. I've got my sound man. I use whatever lights in the hall. You know, and I start out 200, 300 people, and then within less than a year or 2 years, I'm playing 600, you know, and now I'm getting up to 2,000, you know, and so it's been 20 years of constantly
building
that. Yeah, building and building, yeah. And so, you know, it's supply and demand, you know. And the thing that everybody has to know, people who know you and know your podcast, not everyone's going to like it. It's not for everybody, but you have to, like, I've got my critics, and I don't really give a damn about them,
right?
To be honest, you know what I mean? Because I'm a realist. Of course, what I do is not going to appeal to everybody. The formula for failure is trying to please everyone. Forget it. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Formula for success is create something that's totally you know? And the only way they're going to get what you do is to go and see you.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. Yeah.
There's only one Eric Clapton. There's only one Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a million wannabes, but there's only one of the real thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to stand on, and I have to believe in. And, you know, I know all my faults and all my weaknesses and all that stuff. And I made peace with everything. I'm okay. I don't care if you think I'm the best or not. You know, I could care less. All I want to do is do the best I can with what I have.
Yeah.
You know, and keep growing my repertoire and my abilities and my audience. You know, and have a lifetime commitment to my audience. Right.
You know? I mean, it oozes off you that everything about what you do and your craft and the way you get your fans, it's such a people business for you. It's, you know, you're invested in people. And I've seen that time and time again at your shows. And I'll never forget, I remember I was 13, maybe 14 when I first saw you. And I remember coming to a gig in the Manchester. It was somewhere at the Lowry in Manchester. And I think you're right. I think there was about 200 people. There was about 200 people there, something like that. And I remember I didn't have, I bought all your shit. I bought all your CDs, all your t-shirts. I bought everything. And I had no money to get home. And now you're dining out on the cash. But I remember I stupidly, I bought everything from the merchandise stand after seeing everything. And I was like, oh my God, that was great. And then you came out afterwards and you were signing. And you said, oh, great to meet you, great to see you, and you signed all my stuff. And then I realized, I said, oh God, I can't actually get home now because I bought all the CDs. And I'll never forget the moment where I think you turned to your tour manager or something at the time and you just said, oh, just get some money. And you gave me 50 quid to get home. And you said, oh, please get home safely. And I was completely floored by that. And it stuck with me forever. It was one of those moments that and I always appreciated it. Yeah. No, I'm sure you do. But it was one of those moments that I spend my life sort of meeting a lot of different music celebrities or producers and characters. But just the sort of the human element of your show and everything that you do is really, really apparent. How important has that been to be that way throughout your career? Because I believe it's vital, but can you comment on some of that?
I'm just being who I am, and that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, I can sum it up for you pretty easily, and that is, I found out fairly early in my life that whatever gift I have and whatever I put my energy into, the benefit is for everyone else.
Right.
I play to change your world. I play to make you feel good, and to take you away from your little mind where you live. Right. I want to open that up and say there's a big world of possibilities out there.
Right.
Just watch this, and it's not brain surgery. It's just, I found something that works. I don't know where it's obviously a gift, but when I play, something good happens to people, and that's my reason. So the Japanese call it ikigai, and it means reason for being.
Right.
So I found my reason for being here is when I play, you feel good. There's my reason.
And that's it.
I don't have to have anything else but that.
Yeah.
And I'm just obsessed with trying to get good at what I'm doing, and steal as much as I can from what's going on out there.
Right.
To reshape it and make it into me. That's what we do. The other thing that people don't talk about is the truth is, we all start out emulating someone.
Of course. Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. There's a video going around of Michael Jackson doing all his stuff on stage, and above it is Charlie Chaplin.
Right.
Doing almost the same
thing. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so there it is. Michael Jackson, if you cornered him and said, where did that come from? He'd probably say, I didn't invent it.
Yeah.
I stole it from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we all do, But somehow, through work and experience and time, we evolve into who we are. And so when I play, you're hearing, oh, that's Tommy. That's his sound. That's his phrasing. That's his voice. So I found my voice. But I started out emulating everyone's voice.
Yeah.
Hank Marvin, Bruce Welch, Chet Atkins, Eric Clapton, B.B. King,
yeah.
Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, you name it.
Right.
I emulated everyone. And I stole as much as I could because I was hungry for knowledge. And so there you go.
Yeah.
So the reason for being is a good thing.
That's great.
That's what's said. It's a simple thing. The simpler you can keep life, the better it is. The more complicated, the harder it's going to be.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
The bottom line is I've got a great team of people here, but we're all looking to do the best job we can. We know when we pull together as a team, there's no one sounds like that. No light show is like that. No one plays like that. This is something that we build together.
Yeah.
And so there's a million players better than me out there. Technically, there's players who can play rings around.
I mean, I'm not so sure, Tommy. I'm not so sure.
I know. But that's okay.
It doesn't matter. That's amazing. That's amazing. What's been a kind of, you mentioned a few people there. What's been a career highlight for you? Because a lot of those people you've mentioned, you've obviously done shows with, or all that stuff. Is there any particular highlights or anything that you loved in particular or learned from the most?
Well, you know what the most incredible thing is? Some of the people that I've got to work with who are big stars were so incredible as people.
Great.
Like the first time I opened for Eric Clapton in Australia was his Journeyman tour in 1990.
Wow.
And it was a great tour. And Eric just said to me after the second show, I got invited into his dressing room, we got a photo together, and he just looked me right in the eye and he just said, "You've been doing this a while, haven't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he just winked and he said, "Keep going." That's all he said. I didn't need anything else.
Yeah.
That's all. And, people like John Denver in '88.
Wow.
I was his opening.
Wow.
And the very first night, he had no idea who I was or what was going on. He's the big star.
Yeah, John Denver. Yeah.
Yeah, and I played 35 minutes, and the audience were going nuts, right? I came off stage from the first show, and John Denver's sitting in my dressing room. And he looked at me, and he said, "I have never seen anything like that in my life.
Wow.
I want you." And he said, I want you to play with me. Listen to the show tonight. There's a song called Sing Australia. And he'd written about his Australian wife that he married. And he said, "Tomorrow we'll run it down. I want you to walk out unannounced and play in that song."
Wow.
So he built me into his show.
Wow.
We became instant friends, And people like Michael Bolton, who, was so encouraging and mentioned me several times in his show.
Right. Wow.
And then, on the last show, which was in Perth in Western Australia, their sound check went way over time, and he'd forgotten that it was an early show. And all of a sudden, his tour manager runs on stage and whispers something, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And he came up to me and apologized, and I said, "Don't worry about it. You were playing my favorite song of yours, over and over. They were running different songs." And he said, how can I help? And I said, "Well, I haven't had a chance to eat, and I need to iron my shirt." And he got his assistant to give me his dinner while she ironed my shirt, and I made it on stage. That's the kind of people.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow, that's unbelievable. Yeah, God. I mean, and I know you've done a bunch of touring with, some of the Gypsy Jazz guys as well, haven't there? And a lot of the shows that I remember I saw you with, there was a lot of people. So, I don't know, for example, Adam Palmer, when we were over, and, Martin Taylor, yeah, and stuff. Was that the transition into all that kind of the gypsy jazz and all that stuff? Was that an intention, or was that just something you got introduced to and fancy to go and got more into? Yeah, how did you get into it?
I discovered Django because Chet Atkins mentioned him in an interview that I read.
Interesting.
And I found a record in Australia and played it and thought it was kind of circus music or something, and when I first heard it. But then when I started playing with other people who did that, I realized how wonderful it is and how much fun it is. And so I got the opportunity to do it a lot more. When guitar festivals started popping up in Australia, and there were guys like Ian Date who played that Django style and did it pretty faithfully.
Right.
So it created a whole new thing, and then it took off in England and then in France and all that. I don't get a chance to do that stuff much anymore. Because but I love it, and I love being the rhythm guy.
Yeah, I do. I love the rhythm.
And when I play with Martin Taylor, I think like I am the Count Basie Big Band.
Right.
I'm like moving the bass around and go toom, toom, toom. Like,
yeah.
Big in a groove, and Martin plays with this 40s style that is so infectious, and it transports you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Frank Vignola, people.
Oh yeah, Frank. Yeah.
So
do you find that any of that sort of, did you have to practice in a particular way or anything to get involved with all those guys? Or
basically, I had to learn other people's repertoire.
Right.
For instance, when I'm playing the Kentucky, if I play at the Merle Travis Center in Kentucky, I invite a couple of older guys who play traditional thumb picking like Merle Travis.
Yeah.
I know they're going to do "I'll See You in My Dreams" starting in F.
Yeah.
And if you do Django's version, it starts in B.
In B flat. Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. So you got to learn the song.
Right.
In many keys and all that stuff.
What's your approach to practice? In general, do you have a routine or anything, or
I play songs,
Right.
I don't sit and play modes and scales and all that stuff. It's so boring.
It is. It's
yeah. But I mean, I understand the benefit of it, and I certainly want to know what more about the fretboard, the mystery. But I practice songs that I know I need to play better. Like yesterday, I played some of my finger picking tunes that are not easy to play. I played them like over and over, and I went straight from one end to the other. And it was like such a workout for my hands and my arms.
Yeah.
All the muscles up here,
And the thumb.
Yeah. So it was good. And then like some mornings when we're driving and we're not in our destination yet, I'll get my guitar out and sit and play Christmas tunes.
Right.
Just for fun to go, I mustn't forget those arrangements.
Yeah.
So, but you got to work on your strengths, you got to work on your time, and you got to work on smoothness. What's the word? Less effort and maximum effect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I always knew that about you, though. I knew that you weren't a fan of playing scales and things. I remember you told someone, and I was in earshot, they were asking you if you did, hand weight exercises, and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't think he does, but I don't.
The other day at a workshop, a guy said, do you like squeeze? And I'm like, I do not want to be a champion ball player. I want to be a guitar player. And so I play the damn guitar. Don't squeeze balls.
Don't squeeze balls. That's boss. So just kind of.
Also, I may be wrong, you know. I leave that open.
Yeah.
I'm just confessing what works for me.
Yeah, right.
I'm not telling you that you should do that, because there are some people who live by regimen.
Of course, that's it.
15 minutes of modes, 15 minutes of scales, 15 minutes of things in reverse, and I admire their technique so much. But I could care less about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I pick up the guitar, I want to play some tunes and have fun.
Yeah, definitely. Just moving away from the sort of the guitar and practice and things, your online presence since you started, you know, you've gone from like having a website to having, you know, a few other things, and then it's developed into, you know, Instagram Reels and TikTok and all, you know, and all, and I mean, it all kind of kicked off for you, I think, through YouTube. I think I'm right by saying, and was it the song Guitar Boogie, I think, went viral or something, somebody filmed it at the Robin too. In Bilston, right.
Yeah, Wolverhampton area.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about YouTube. I didn't even have a computer. And my agent in the Netherlands said, "Can we do a second show? Can we do 2 shows in one night in Stockholm?" And I said, "How many people?" I'm thinking it's 100 people. He said 660 per show.
What?
I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah," and they're both sold.
Wow.
How is this possible? He said, "I don't know, but it went crazy." So I came into Stockholm, played the early show, and the crowd were unbelievable. They were just like, from the moment I walked on stage, they were wild.
Great.
And so I said to them, "How do you know about me?" And they all sang out, "YouTube." And I'm like, "What's YouTube?" No idea. A guy showed me on his, maybe it wasn't his phone, it was a computer. A guy showed me, and he said, "Here you are." And I saw it. It was like, "Here it is, Guitar Boogie, blah, 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 6 million views."
What?
And so then I realized, you know, but okay, so to what you were talking about is my presence in social media. I have a team that do that. Right. And there are people always putting up videos and all that stuff. But my manager, Brian, says to me, "We've got to feed the beast."
Yeah, right.
So, you know, I go into headquarters in Nashville with a team of ladies who specialize in making TikTok videos. Right. And they're really good. They've got they do it all on phones.
Yeah.
And it's a little room, and I have my amp under the table just on, and I use the sound from the phone and the sound from my amp to get the sound I like. And then they say, "Okay, let's do this." So I then go, "Hi, blah, 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 blah," and play 40 seconds, whatever. Okay, next one, and we go on and go on. And then they have a list of questions that people, that they think people might want to know. So they say, "Okay, talk about how do you practice? Ready? Go." You know, and stuff like that. Right. And I go in there and spend like an hour and a half, and that'll last 6 months.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
They'll shoot. Yeah. And, you know, and then my people who are on the road with me, they're into all that as well. So my merchandise lady, Jen, she's always shooting stuff that's unusual, and she's really good at it. You know, she'll like catch me at sound check running a new song, and she'll just put a 30-second clip of it. You know, we're on the road, blah blah blah, and the camera will come around, and I'll be playing something from the latest album at sound check. You know, just in a jeans and t-shirt and hanging out, and I'll see her and go, hello. You know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's something else.
Yeah.
And here he is eating dinner, and there he is on the bus. So, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just general stuff, you know, and she's really good at that. It's
so important to build, you know, a strong online presence nowadays, isn't it? You know, how would you, because that is essentially what new artists are now faced with. They're faced with the reality that they have to start building social channels and things, and it's quite difficult when you first start, you know.
But let me just say to you now, likes and views on YouTube and that do not equal concert tickets sold.
No, I agree.
You still have to build it.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no shortcut. You still have to build it. You still have to create it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I completely agree. What, you know, like what sort of overall, you know, tips or whatever, you know, would you say to people that are trying to build that online presence and get the tickets sold? And, you know, there's so much to do for any artist to crack on. You know, do you have any like kind of overall tips or anything that's just like, do this, or, you know?
Have some good songs. Make sure that what you do is absolutely, you can stand on it. It's rock solid. Your arrangements are good. Your song choices are good. Your delivery of the song is so 100%. He's given us everything. You know what I mean? That will help you build an audience.
Yeah.
You know, people are not stupid. They can tell if you're full of shit or not.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
So you know, it's all about the quality and integrity of what you do.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Because that will shine through like a light.
Definitely. What, you know, you're on the road all the time. How many concerts would you say you do a year, by the way? I remember the 1 year it was 350 concerts or something.
Yeah. I've cut right back. I'm about 200 now.
That's not cutting back. I mean,
it's for me.
For you it is. Yeah. You know, you're sort of on the road all the time, and that has implicated, you know, you were saying at the start, you know, just been on a 6-hour drive, and then you turn up, and then you got a flight tomorrow, and then you got this, and it's constant. How do you take care of yourself, and how do you stay so, you know, buoyant and positive and happy and healthy, and, you know, yeah.
Well, I eat well. I don't eat garbage. I don't drink garbage. You know, I don't drink things like Red Bull and Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
You know, all that. I don't do any of that. I stopped drinking alcohol a long time ago. And I try to rest as much as I can. I do drink coffee. I love coffee. I would probably have 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day.
Wow.
But I drink a lot of water, and I eat good things, and I'm very happy that I'm healthy, and I wake up grateful every day. So, you know, having an attitude of gratitude is a big part of my well-being.
Right.
And the fact that I found my reason for being.
Right.
You know, when I play, you get happy. To me, that's like the greatest gift I could imagine.
Right.
When I do what I do, it's good for you.
Yeah.
And therein is a principle to live by.
Definitely.
So, and if even a deeper thought, and I'll just, this is just my idea, but I think the way life works on our planet is that if I put your needs before mine, then all my needs will be met.
Right.
I won't have to worry about them. But I've got to put you before me. So in other words, I've got to reach out to others and try to fill their need, whatever their need is, you know. There are people who come to my shows who have lost their children. You know, there's been suicide or there's been a terrible accident, and they don't know how, and they found something that helps them cope with life. And they come to my show and they have a great time, they smile, they feel alive again. Something helped them. And they keep coming back. Yeah. And I keep seeing them and I keep playing for them out of love. Right? And that's it. That means I'm serving them. Right. So that's the principle. If I put their needs on top priority on my list, you know, not getting rich, getting famous, getting Mr. Fabulous, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. If I'm thinking about trying to help others, that lights a fire in me that causes me to do everything better. Right. It causes me to give you time. It causes me to, I'm already excited. I'm going to get my guitar out of the case in 5 minutes and play it. And play it, yeah. Yeah, and so it's really about that, you know. That's brilliant. That's, superb. That's the bottom line. Superb. All right, Tommy. Well, I'm aware of the time and stuff. Just to close us on, how important is it to you to develop younger talent and young artists and people who look up to you and Nothing could be more important to me than because I remember when I was little. I remember the people that inspired me, that were kind to me, that were encouraging, who saw something in me and said, you really should work on this, and and all that, And people, when I was little, people found Chet Atkins records in the big city and brought and sent them to me. There's no way I was going to get them. Right. So people already were thinking that this boy's he's obsessed. We got to help him. Yeah. Wow. So I think because of the media and because of movies and things like that, I think that people have the wrong idea about the music business, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And there's a lot of ugly sides as far as there are people in there for greed, there are people in there for power, all that sort of stuff. But I don't know another business that's like the music business. It reaches out and helps the whole world. Right. Right. Look at what Eric Clapton's doing. He's running a rehabilitation center. He's funding it. He bought it. And we all want to help him do that. Because there's a lot of people in a lot of trouble. There's people with terrible addictions and all that, and who need real help. And he knows that, and it's his way of giving back. Right. And he's just one artist. Imagine what other people are doing out there. That's it. So, yeah. It's a way of using your where you are in the world to benefit everyone else. And that's I believe that's what our maker is trying to tell us, that this is what I want you to do. Right. Tommy, thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate you being on the show. And I'm so glad you called me. And I often wonder what happened to that busy little fellow in Ben. What happened to him? Yeah, and I hope during my January tour in the UK that we get a chance to hook up. Yes. And have a hook and
have a hug and a cup of tea. Be safe on the road, and I'll hopefully see you in January. All right, Tom. Thanks so much, mate.
Lots of love.
All the best, buddy.